And welcome to the next video training scaling 15K to 30K a month. In this video, I'm really excited. It's not unlike other videos. I mean, this is where the interesting piece is. Yeah, I mean, you have figured out a working model and how to make it big, right? So, I've been consistently making about some 20 to 30K dollars a month, and I follow a very simple process. So keep your eyes open. I mean, this is really going to be interesting on how we are actually going to scale, right? So the process is simple. I mean, so instead of we trying to figure out and we trying to like uh, get a lot of traffic, right? Now, what we are going to do is ideally we are going to just find out what the competition is doing, what are all the different networks, what is their winning content, and which are all the other ad networks they are using. So the important piece here to understand is, I mean, it's not we are not going to use Facebook ad campaign at all, right? So we are going to use native advertising platforms where the bid, the what we are going to bid is relatively very cheap, and then we drive massive traffic. Um and that's the reason, I mean, we suggest you to get a better hosting like DigitalOcean, because your real time will be going beyond 500 to 1000, I mean, in real time. And then a possibility that if you take a shared hosting, I mean, it may not really work, or your site may be down or something like that. uh, so let me get straight to the point, right? So there are multiple tools in terms of finding out our competition what they are doing, right? So as I was talking about push notification and native advertising, which is the best form of driving traffic to your site. um, the site is called Antstrucks.com. So this is one of my favorite tool, and it is going to give all the native advertising networks what's the total number of campaign, what is the best performing content, which country they are running, everything, right? So this ideally costs $179 a month, and but I don't worry, because I make much more because of the the use of this tool, right, for me. So I don't care, and like it's really gonna help me. And this is how we actually found a lot of things and a lot of different networks, and we actually scaled up. Okay, so I've just clicked on sign in. So once you sign in, I mean, this is how the dashboard looks like, right? Now understand that we are going to do only native advertising, right? In native advertising, I mean, if you see, actually there are multiple ad networks that you can see n number of ad networks, that there is no limitation for you, right? Now obviously, like Outbrain is there, Taboola is there, Ref Content is there, uh, Yahoo Gemini is there. There are a lot of players where you can ideally like we can actually find out, right? So now let's say I choose a network called Taboola. Okay. So I can also filter it by country. Okay. So there are a lot of training videos of Anstrucks itself, how to effectively use the platform, right? Now we have two options here called ad strength and gravity. So you can play around with the, so both has to be higher. I mean, the higher it is better. I mean, in terms of number of days the ads has run, in terms of uh, like the total number of days, and if there is any other creatives, so both has to be more in number. Okay, there like obviously here you see watch videos, so they have all the training sections there. Mhm. So for simple reason, I will also choose language as English. Mhm. So I have filtered by ad network as Taboola, and country India, and language as English. Okay. Now what happens is, now here is where more of the research happens. Okay. Now these are all the ads that are actually like getting played in tabula network. Right. So instead of, I mean, scrolling down more and actually wasting the time, let's just choose one of the ad, right? Let's say for example, I'll choose this. So when I choose this, it's actually going to give me some synopsis in terms of like what was the ad network and what is the creative and which are all country it is running, right? And obviously, I can also visit page, right? I can be directly taken to that landing page of the this particular ad, right? Now the beautiful thing about here is I can also go to ad networks and see the same user where all he is actually running the ads. I see Taboola, Outbrain, and Mget, right? So the duration in days 612, 612, and 73, right? Then I can also go to statistics. Like it's roughly going to give me, I mean, some sort of statistics in terms of how many days the ads has run, etc. Now in terms of creative, I can also look at the creative. Now this is actually a good feature for me because I understand, okay, let's say now I'll have to drive traffic from mgid. Now what are all the different creative that is actually working there, right? Now, and I can also see which country it is running for. India, then here I see a lot Taiwan, then South Korea, a lot of countries it has been run. So and I also see network Taboola, and in certain places I saw MGID, like this is MGID, this is Volume, right? So there are multiple networks, right? Now we can also actually look at the landing pages. Right, these are all the different landing pages that they have been used for. Now yeah, this is download and deploy. I mean, this works for if let's say you are promoting any other product or if you're an affiliate marketer. But for us, I mean, it's going to be content, right? So we are not going to copy and copy the same content. Yes, maybe ideation will work, the title and the topic can help you understand what sort of content to write, but we are not going to copy from here, so there's no need for download and deploy. And the last thing, we can also look at geos, which geo it's actually a lot of traffic is coming in. I see India to be the highest, and we can also check devices. Right. Now why this is also more important for us is sometimes, I mean, mobile traffic, a lot of mobile traffic, our net earning ecpm or cpc will be lesser as a publisher. Desktop, I mean, it works in certain cases, it's other way around. Mobile traffic gives you more earning and desktop lesser. So it depends on where you are publisher from, whether it is Google AdSense or any other network, and then based on that, you will have to ideally look at the you'll have to scale up the traffic. Okay. Now one thing, like I have tested a lot of ad networks, right? And now here as an example, I'll show you two of my ad networks where I'm driving actually traffic from. So one is Propeller Ad. So now these are all the different campaigns that is still running for me. I mean, so what I do is, I mean, these are all different content that I try to run ads for. And then so obviously now if I go to if I also choose archived, right? Now it's going to show me more than 200 or 300 campaigns, right? But yeah, with my analysis and tracking, so I have obviously switched off certain campaigns, right? Now so for the for not to confuse you guys, I will just switch off the archived. Now these are all the working campaigns for me. Mhm. So Propeller Ad, I mean, it gives immense traffic. I mean, as long as you can play around with the CPC and bids, right? Let me go into one of my campaign. So the best way in Propeller Ads, I mean, to understand, I mean, whether content is has a potential to drive more traffic for you or not, is simply when you are creating a campaign for the very first time, you create it for CPM, and maybe you'll have to wait for $2, $3 spend, right? And then you look at the CTR. So let me just go to one of my campaigns, right? Hmm. Mhm. So this is one of my campaign. So it's a cancer article. I am into health niche, and I run it for worldwide uh, on CPC, right? So this is what I was talking about in terms of tracking along with your URL. You give it the country, and then you give the cost. You give the campaign ID. I mean, obviously, you can also look at the browser, banner ID, zone ID. There are multiple options to track, right? So I give different creatives, and I try to see which one is performing well, which one is not performing well. Now the least you can bid here is basically 0.001 cents. Mhm. So that's like damn cheap. Now what happens is I have done a multiple testing. Unlike Facebook ad, I mean, there's no minimum CPC in terms of driving traffic to your website. Like the cost is really higher. So that here I have done a different sort of testing. So what we do is, when you go for the least, obviously, I mean, you get the minimum clicks and then traffic to your site, right? So you will not be able to figure out and able to track what is happening. So in the initial days, I mean, like, try to give a CPC of close to around 1 cent, or maybe lesser than a little bit lesser than 1 cent, maybe 0.005 or something, 0.006. So that will ideally give you some data. I mean, in terms of tracking whether it is working or not. So how to find winning content in Propeller Ad, right? So typically, what I do is, when I actually create a campaign, so I won't go directly for a CPC model, or I won't go for. So obviously now I'm gonna run native ads, right? So I'll just give a campaign name, like say test, okay, and then I choose native ads. Now there are two options: CPM and CPC, right? So you go for CPM, okay, and then set your CPM you are willing to pay 0.01, right? So obviously now this is the least, right? So maybe you can go for 2 cents, or like 3 cents, something like that. So what happens is, I mean, this will start giving you immense traffic, right? Now wait for $2 or $3 spend, and out of all the creatives that you gave, you can choose the best performing creative and then convert it into a CPC model, right? So which means you just replicate the same campaign, and then instead of choosing CPM, you choose a CPC model. Okay, so that's the reason I give different creatives and different countries I try to target, which is performing. But yeah, initially I go for a CPM model, and if the click through rate, CTR rate, is more than obviously more than 0.5% or 1%, I mean, that's the best performing creative, and then you scale it up. So this is one ad network. Now so I have a lot of such campaigns running, which initially started with CPM model, and then I go to CPC model, and I try different CPC. I try different uh, like I try increasing the CPC. Like for example, here if you see some are in 0.06, some are 0.005, some are 0.002. I frequently keep checking which is the performing one and non-performing one, and then we go about it. So this is one ad network, and the other ad network is obviously Taboola, right? So this is an advertiser login after I create an account with them. So yeah, so this is also really a good platform to drive a lot of traffic. Now we prefer driving a lot of traffic from US, UK, Australia, and Canada because that's where your earning is going to be the maximum. Now it doesn't mean that any other countries will not work. Obviously, you will have to test the content, understand the eCPM, and then you can actually go about doing. So I will just show how to create one campaign in Taboola. So obviously you give a name, you give the branding text of your blog, and then marketing objective. We need an web engagement. So we are not into lead generation or e-commerce stores like purchase or brand awareness. So we need web engagement. So here is where you'll be choosing different countries. So United States, United Kingdom, let's say India, uh, let's say for example Singapore, right? Now you can you can first initially leave the platform set as it is, or once you find the winning one, you can either run for a tablet and smartphone separately and a desktop separately, or you can join both together and come in and run everything together. So here is the bid amount. So I am from India, so my currency shows in Indian rupees. So 1 rupee is close equivalent to I can say 1.8 cents, or I don't know the today's rate. So which is ideally equivalent to 1 rupee 20 paise is equivalent to 2 cents, right? So that's the minimum bid. But yeah, I mean the lesser the bid, I mean the amount of traffic that you drive will be cheap. I mean lesser. The reason is because obviously you are bidding very low and your competition is bidding high. But comparatively to Facebook, this is far more better. So now what I do is this is the minimum bid. I typically bid at 5 rupees or sometimes even 10 rupees. So 10 rupees is like 10 cents, right? So like it depends on the conversion rate. I mean you can play around with your bidding and budget, and then also you can give the spending limit, and you want to do it for a monthly for the campaign or entire campaign. You want it to be accelerator or strict. So you can you will have multiple options, and uh, so that's it. I mean here. So once you go to the just show you. So yeah, it again asks for your confirmation in terms of whether all your targeting is right or not, and then you basically submit the campaign. So once you submit the campaign, you will be going to the campaign inventory, right? So so when I meant campaign inventory, I'll just show you guys here. So hair transplant is one of my content that is running. So here is where you just paste in the URL. You get to know you will obviously because of your featured image you'll get the thumbnail, and the title will be pulled from your blog. So you can actually edit or give a different title, make it more clickbaitable, and you can also obviously change different thumbnail images. So that's it. I mean in terms of Taboola as an ad network. I'm sorry. So so these are different type of ad networks: Taboola, Propeller Ads, Ref Content, MGID, Content.ad, Mega Push, and then like how we drive native traffic. I mean, push notification as a traffic also really works wonder. I mean, all you need to find one of the winning content and one of the your winning content and scale up the traffic massively to it from different ad networks, so you will have a better earning. Um, so what happens is so when you are scaling, I mean, obviously you will not only be earning only from AdSense, right? We have two other different networks. As a native advertising publisher, you can also go to Taboola. You can become a publisher there, or Ref Content or MGIT. So obviously, same like Google AdSense, they'll be giving you an ad code, and then which you'll have to place it in your site. So let's say now. I will just show you one of my site. So what happens is, I mean, in real time, I mean, obviously you will have uh, a lot of traffic coming in. I mean, I'll just show you one of my example. So this is one of my site. So how do we become a publisher of Taboola and also Google Ad Exchange with this sticky ad that's gonna show up in your site? Is basically, I mean, you might need to have a lot of traffic coming in. Let's say now I just choose this month. So this is only one of my site, and you can actually see the amount of traffic that I have drove to my site, right? So it's like 200K. That's only with one of my site. Right? And so to become a publisher of Taboola and Google Ad Exchange, you will need to have a minimum of 500,000 page views, right? So I was just trying to show you guys the amount of page views that I actually drive. You see the page views? It's only 22 days, and I'm having close to 500,000 page views, right? So that's what I'm talking about. I mean, so so we have a lot of ad networks that is potentially possible to send us massive traffic. So this is the best tool. I mean, what I was talking about earlier, and then you can actually see in the different type of ad networks, and you can basically test every possible ad networks and find one ad network which is actually profitable. So in fact, I mean, we have tested a lot, and then so these are the ad networks that has really worked for us and profitable. We have few more, and but I feel that these six ad networks maybe can equally give you a better traffic and better earning. So that's the scaling up. I mean, so as long as you can drive more traffic, and it's not necessarily you stop at 500,000 or you stop at 1 million, something like that. If you have enough budget to drive more massive traffic, for sure we can actually hit 15 to 30,000 dollars a month passively. For sure. So this is it in terms of scaling up traffic. I mean, so any sort of questions or queries, please reach out to us either through an email or a group. We'll be more than happy to assist you. Thank you, and let's connect in the next video.